Welcome to another unboxing video. Today we've got Fury of Dracula by Wizkids. I believe this is a third edition, but I'm a little bit confused. The BGG entry has got third and fourth edition next to one another. This is from Wizkids and Games Workshop, so I think it's third edition. I think fourth edition is by Fantasy Flight Games. So let's take a look at this. I've not played this game before. And I'm looking forward to having a hidden movement game in my collection. Standard. I do like boxes which are the same size, and I know this will fit on my shelves quite nicely. So a nice art on the back. And let's open it up to see what we get inside. So we've got a learn to play with a rules reference. Now I actually quite like this for heavier or medium weight Euro or heavier thematic games. It helps. I think it helps players get learning the game quicker and getting the game onto the table quicker, which at the end of the day is what we want to do. I don't necessarily like it in a war game. I'd like to read all the rules, and I think it's important to have a tutorial in a war game manual, but not a learn to play in a separate rules reference. All the rules in one place with a short tutorial is good for war games, and with heavier thematic games or Euro games, then I like the two rulebook format, which is what we've got here in Fury of Dracula. We've got some punch boards, and the tokens come out very nice and clean. Everything looks to be well centered. There's no linen finish, but all the artwork on there looks nice and clean and quite vivid, and thematic as well. So let's have a look at what other. Here we've got some player boards and Dracula's reference sheet. In the game, if I understand correctly, you play, there's a Dracula character versus 4 investigators, and there is always 4 investigators in the game. So if you're playing with 2 players, then one player is Dracula and the other player is all 4 players. If you're playing with 3, then each player is controlling 2 except Dracula. Here we've got the game board. And you'll see it's a threefold board game, threefold board of Europe, and yeah, still including good old Blighty in that phrase, still part of Europe. Quite old-fashioned thematic art on here. It's quite simple. If I can just zoom up into Rome, you've got a city which is one of those square extra resource locations with a hospital and a smaller town there where you won't pick up an item card, with red roads, yellow train lines for being in Eastern Europe, and in Western Europe you get the benefit of having white train lines which move further. But the board looks nice and clean. A couple of plastic bags, and 1, 2, 3 decks of cards. We'll have a look at those, and I presume we've got some miniatures in here. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. These are painted. Let's have a look at these. Here's the Dracula figure in a tiny little plastic bag. Can't get my sausage fingers in there. Oh, that's lovely. There is Dracula himself. Quite a dark paint job, but as you'd expect. I honestly wasn't expecting to see painted miniatures in this game, so I'm quite nicely surprised. And the paint job is actually pretty decent. Obviously it's not as good as something that you could do yourself by spending a few hours on it, but not having to spend that time, sorry mate, there we go, not having to spend the time on it is a boon and will look absolutely brilliant on the table. And I'll just do one more. And we've got a demon hunter holding up his crucifix, ready to smite the minions before him. Fantastic. Looking to play this. Hopefully I might get this one played tomorrow night. We'll see. But once we've played it a few times, I'll write my review and you'll be able to read it at wargamersneedfulthings.co.uk. Here's one of the decks of cards. These are some of the event cards, I believe, and you'll get good and bad event cards. These are all good event cards with that white holy symbol on the back. I don't see any of Dracula's event cards there. And here we've got some items which will only come for being in a city. Items. And I'm curious about how the combat mechanism works. Basically you're comparing icons against the player's cards and Dracula's combat cards, and if they match up then you do damage and things like that. If Dracula takes above a certain amount of damage, he's out of the game and the players win, or the investigators win rather. And if ever Dracula gets up to 13 influence, nice chosen number there, then Dracula wins the game. And we've got location cards with, I forget what they're called, but I've only had a chance to look through the online rules. I've not played it yet. But they get put together with the location cards and they can mature if they drop off the end of the board. And there you go. That's one of the main ways that Dracula gets points, is having new vampires mature, and their effect and influence to Dracula will increase as he gets more mature vampires around Europe. So all of that deck of cards mixed all in together, which will take a few minutes to sort out, are all Dracula's. So I suppose in here we've got some of Dracula's event cards. Yeah, there we go. There's some of Dracula's event cards. Again, all mixed in with other decks of cards. I don't know how that happens in production. I'm sure you'd print a run of cards, or I don't know. Anyway, so you're going to have to sort the cards out first. But all the art looks really nice, no complaints. And the even the insert of the box, and we've got a trench again, but it's just a mini map of Europe printed on that. It's not just plain card. Normally I just chuck away a trench, but if we can get all of this game back into that box whilst unpacked without being able to close the boxes properly, then I might keep that one. So that is my unboxing of Fury of Dracula. Thanks very much for watching, and look out for my review coming soon.